புதிய தகவல்களுக்கு இன்மதியுடன் இணைந்திருங்கள்.
ஆகாஷகங்கா சூரிய சந்திர தாரா சந்தியா உஷா கோயி நானதி. ஆகாஷகங்கா சூரிய சந்திர தாரா சந்தியா உஷா கோயி நானதி.
வணக்கம். நீங்கள் கேட்டு ரசித்தது டாக்டர் சுதா ராஜா ஒருங்கமைத்து நடத்திய ஒரு சேர்ந்திசை நிகழ்வு. இது அவரது சர்க்கம் அமைப்பின் ஆகாஷ் கங்கா எனும் இசைத்தொகுப்பின் ஒரு பகுதியாகும். முக்கியமாக குழந்தைகளை தம் இலக்காக கொண்டு அவர்களை அணுகி பெரும்பாலும் அவர்கள் புடைசூழ நடந்தவையே இவர் ஆக்கி காட்டியவை. தென்னிந்தியாவை பொறுத்தமட்டில் இடதுசாரி கொள்கைகளால் கவரப்பட்டு இப்டாவில் முக்கிய பங்கு வகித்து சேர்ந்திசை என்பதை மக்களிடம் கொண்டு சேர்த்து இவ்வாறாக சரித்திரத்தில் இத்தொண்டினால் இடம் பிடித்தவர் திரு எம்பி சீனிவாசன். அவர்களிடம் இந்த கலையை பயின்று அவரது இசையினால் ஈர்க்கப்பட்டு அதனையே மையமாக கொண்டு ஆராய்ச்சி மேற்கொண்டு முனைவர் பட்டத்தை பெற்றவர்தான் திருமதி சுதா ராஜா. இங்கே இன்மதியுடன் நடத்திய உரையாடலில் தன் அனுபவங்களை பகிர்கிறார்.
First of all, we'll have to thank Inmathi Private Limited for having organized this.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Inmathi.
Giving me an opportunity to talk to you.
Thank you. All good, sir. Thank you for, enabling this. You connecting me to Inmathi and also, thinking of doing this for us.
Okay. Fine.
Thank you.
First thing I want to know is, எப்படி நீங்க பசங்க எல்லாரும் பசங்கன்னா ஒரு லெவல் இருந்தா நான் நடத்த முடியும் கிளாஸ் அப்படின்னு இல்லாத you have gone to children and made them come to you.
Yes.
So how did it happen?
The thing is, in 1988 I started teaching children around my house. We were living in Valasarvakkam then, and there were a lot of children who used to play, and the mothers used to know that I was a musician because we used to perform in the local area, and they wanted to send their children to me. And my son also was very small then, he was only 3 years old, so I couldn't go out much. So I said, why not? And I started it. But even before I started teaching children music, I was always keen on Carnatic music and also the other genre that is my passion, which is choral music. And throughout school, I was part of the choral music group in Adarsh Vidyalaya. I studied in Adarsh. So Adarsh secretary, Dhawan sir, and my guru MBS were great friends. Punjab Association, they went back a long way. So even when they used to come and teach us in school, I used to be very inspired by the teacher who used to teach us, multilingual songs and getting down to our level. So I always used to tell my mother, I'm going to do my BA in music only, though I didn't do that. So it used to also, like when we were part of the school choir, leading the school for all functions and everything, the choir used to teach, every Friday there used to be a teaching session for other children in the school where we used to lead them, teach them. So there were a lot of things which I noticed which we could better when we teach children grammar irundhathu. And even when I was in school and just finishing college, MBS, my great guru MB Srinivasan, so he also included me in all the Government of India CCRT workshops, where I used to go as a trainee along with senior faculty who used to be part of his Madras Youth Choir, and him. Sir used to do workshops for teachers on how to teach children music. So I used to be a part of all of that, and his methodologies, the way he used to say, we used to have a sample size of children also during the workshop, so that he could demonstrate on how to make a line, learning a line easier for children, as against, even if it's a complicated sangadi, how to break it up into 1, 2, 3, 4 counting, as against, intricate talams. So அந்த மாதிரி நிறைய techniques he had. So all of this was inspiring for me. So when I started my own classes at home in 1988, I also learned with the children every day on how to deal with them, because they also have their mood swings, the temper tantrums and everything. So beyond that, I see a lot of teachers even now online and otherwise who are, not so patient with children. They lose their cool, and எதுக்கு நான் ஈஸியா வந்து அட்வான்ஸ்ட் ஈஸியா நான் சொல்லி கொடுத்தா ஒரு சங்கதியை அவ ரிப்பீட் பண்ணி போயிட்டே இருப்பாளேன்னு. But that is not challenging in any way. Teaching children is challenging, and every day we learn when we teach them through the questions they ask, through the way they respond to our teaching. And I always tell my husband also this, that see, how many ever batches you teach, whether it's a Varnam batch, Ketana batch, Manodharma batch, elders, the best batch I enjoy is the tiniest tots from 3 year upwards, because after that particular batch you feel so energized. They pass on their energy to you, inadvertently. So I think that was my calling, Nanikran, to teach children, because anybody can teach adults and people who have already been learning music. Any teacher can do that. But teaching children is very, very challenging, and I found my calling in that. So that's how I developed Carnatic music teaching first and foremost. Then, of course, it became choral music, which was also another passion of mine.
Okay. In that case, which can you say was your first performance? First memorable performance or something like that?
Okay. My Carnatic performances, I started even when I was in school, when I was in my 12th standard, which is 1983. So a lot of performances were, memorable. But if I look at a choir performance, in 1982,
choir.
In 1982, we had the Asiad Games in Delhi. So in for Delhi. The Asiad Games, that Madras Youth Choir was the core group of M.B. Srinivasan sir. So they wanted to take more, Madras Youth Choir trained more students or more youngsters for the Asiad Choir Games, because there was a convergence of all the youth choirs. There was the Delhi Youth Choir, the Gandharva Mahavidyalaya, then there was the Calcutta Youth Choir. So they wanted more strength to, have more volume to Madras Youth Choir existing. And even then they were teaching community singing. Like I said, they came to Adarsh. They were going to a lot of schools to do choral training. So when they wanted to expand, MBS thought the easiest way is to take children who are interested from the school groups and induct them into the main choir. So I'm talking about 1981, when I was in my 9th and 10th standard. So from other school group, they called all parents and said, they chose 3 people from Adarsh, 3 of us. So if you're interested, they can get inducted into the main choir. But that also entails a lot of discipline, more learning, and attending rehearsals for the Asiad Games, and also getting into the choir to learn the repertoire, because what we did in school was totally different than what Madras Youth Choir is performing, because they performed 6-part harmonies. In school, we did very simple harmonies, and we learned basic songs, actually. And what was relevant to the school for their performances. So when you think of Asiad Games and performing, to a huge crowd, and for the inauguration of Asiad Games, it had a lot of effort. So in 81, when 3 of us were called, only 2 of us, I think, only me and another child's parent, Sri Vidya Hanimas. So only both of them consented for us to join Madras Youth Choir. But even to go till Asiad, I think I was the only one from Adarsh. Likewise, they also took students from Sharda Vidyalaya, from Lady Suswami School, other schools that they were doing their community training in. So ultimately, there were 10 or 12 of us who went into the main choir, got trained with them week on week. And we used to be assigned faculty. For me, Raja Rajeshwari was assigned. Was already teaching in Adarsh also. So from Adarsh, after school, I used to take 39, the bus 39, which used to reach near her house, Ambedkar's bridge kitta, take a walk, and she used to be ready with something for me to eat, and we used to go on till 6 o'clock. Because even before you get into harmony, I had to learn the basic melody of all the songs. which
Okay.
was like 100 to 120 number. A
Oh,
huge
oh.
number.
Mm.
So, and this was during the weekdays. Weekend training was with MBS directly at his house where MYC used to meet.
Okay.
From 3 to 7 used to be the weekend rehearsals.
Uh,
So we used to, so what did you learn this week used to be the beginning. அப்புறம் நாங்க என்ன கத்துண்டோம், அதுல ஹார்மோனிஸ் எப்படி ஆட் பண்றது அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி. It was a, what should I say, it was an eye opener in many ways, because I was already performing Carnatic, and I did this with the permission of my guru Sulochana Pattabhiraman. So appave like they also had a AR choral group where Sudha Raghunathan, A.V. Ramanan, Rajkumar Bharati, L. Krishna were all part of that. But even MLV Amma or my guru never said, Appo sila per sonna, even in my own family, because the pitch of a choir is quite high. It's C or D. C or D, other Carnatic pitch will be G or A maximum. So on the Tonda choral poidum, I had a loud voice. So choral poidum, Tonda vandu poidum, these kind of things. So when I approached my guru, in the Mari Kekra, should I join MYC? She said, Adala onnu ahadu choralku. In fact, it's voice training and you'll get your swarasthanas perfectly because of harmonies. Already Sudha alam poindirka ni pona. So I'm saying in the 1980s, she was such a forward-thinking guru who allowed me to go, because in those days, gurus were very, orthodox.
Yeah.
They won't allow us to record classes. They won't allow us to go to another person to learn anything. And my guru was, well ahead of her time. She allowed me to go to the classes. And she was very proud of the fact that I was part of MYC.
Okay, okay.
So, unless if she had said no, maybe I wouldn't be a part of that choir at all. Parents' permission is one. But I was with Mami from my 12-year-old when I was 12. Until her death, for 28 years, I was with Sulochana Mami. So, her buy-in and her permission was what mattered most to my parents too. So, I think that also paved the way. And this Asiad, before that, we had 2 or 3 small programs here in Chennai. But the 1982 Asiad Games was most memorable because it was one of my huge performances with MYC and other choirs in the country. And even now it's very popular, sir. Swagatam, Shubha Swagatam. That was a composition of Pandit Ravi Shankar in Jarasamodini Ragam with harmonies. And he personally was there to train us and to see us sing and all. It's still etched in my memory. Those are memories we just can't, forget so easily. Okay. And because it was Asiad Games, as you well know, Olympic Mari, whole of Delhi was spruced up and they built hotels. And we were put up at a 5-star hotel called Ashok Yatri Nivas. And had it was for a school child, I'm saying it was a great adventure.
Yeah.
And musical adventure at that, where you see all these greats coming together for your program. So that is very, very unforgettable for me even now.
Okay. Then you've already talked so much about Dr. Mr. M.B. Srinivasan, sir.
Yes.
Your basic thesis, I also was fortunate enough to listen to your presentation at RK.
Yes, sir.
So very fortunate, and I wrote about it also.
Yes.
Can you elaborately talk about it?
Yeah. So actually, I did my BSc in nutrition and dietetics, because in Adarsh I did my 11th and 12th in nutrition. So BSc in nutrition was what I did. Then I did MSc forensic science. No connection, but forensic science was also one of my thing. And MBS personally took me and put me there for that course. But even then, when I was performing Carnatic and along with MYC, I also felt when I was teaching children, I needed to go more into the theory of music. Though we do learn it from our gurus, there is so much more that you can learn to pass on to your students. So then I thought I should do an MA, a second MA in music. And I registered the Mother Teresa University because of my All India Radio grading. I got exemption to do it in 1.5 years. So I did both together. And again, MPhil also, I got an exemption and I topped the course. So again, what happened because of the grading and because of finishing early, I said, okay, MPhil 4. But I was very fortunate to get a great guide in Dr. M.A. Bhagirathi, who was also my guide for MPhil. So after I finished MPhil, she kept calling me saying, you should register for your doctorate. I said, no, ma'am, already my activities are so, tight and I have to take care of the house. I don't think I'll do justice to it because it takes a lot of effort and concentration, field work, and gathering information. She said, I will be with you. In the guide and the Mari, I don't think I was very fortunate. Again, she was an angel sent by God. So she said, don't worry, you register in QMC. QMC, Queen Mary's, had opened out for doctorate students then. And we were the first batch. And it was only half a day college. It was 8 to 1. She said, in college, I'll say you can do field work. So you just go and do field work and gather your information. So maybe after MPhil, when you register for your doctorate, as you know, we have to give a synopsis and a choice of 3 topics you would like to do your doctorate in. So அந்த சாய்ஸ் கொடுக்கறச்ச நான் கர்நாடகா தான் நம்ம சூஸ் பண்ணுவோம் இல்லையா, ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி சூஸ் பண்ணி தான் கொடுத்தேன். அப்புறம் 3வது சாய்ஸ் கொடுக்கறச்ச I was just thinking there are a lot of people who are qualified to teach children even in Madras Youth Choir, but none of them had done the MA and MPhil in music to do doctorate on MBS. And I'm talking about the year 2008. MBS passed away in 1988. So adukaprom வந்து Madras Youth Choir revive பண்ணி I was also conducting and taking care of the rehearsals along with 2-3 other senior instructors. So அதெல்லாம் கண்டக்ட் பண்ணி SNA ப்ரோக்ராம்லாம் கூட நான் டெல்லியில கண்டக்ட் பண்றச்ச you see the vision of the man and you realize that those things are not going to come out. அந்த மெட்டீரியல் இருக்கு, அதை எப்படி சொல்லி தரணுங்கிற ஒரு மெத்தடாலஜி இருக்கு. So how is it going to come out unless someone does a thesis or a doctorate on him and specifically on choral music? So I registered that as the 3rd topic. So fortunately, I should again say God's will that only got chosen for my doctoral thesis again. So then Bhagirathi ma'am said, okay, so இதுதான் வந்திருக்கு, you're destined to write on MBS அப்படின்னு. அப்போ I had to, of course, for the doctorate thesis we have to get the permission of the original body, so in this case embassy. So they gave me a permission on the letterhead saying they're very happy to allow me to access to the material, to the notations, to the life and times of MBS, because a lot of his own cousins were also part of Madras Youth Choir. So his early life, his film music, and the madri nariya. So out of the 5 chapters, 1 chapter was on his early life, and he was part of the IPTA, Indian People's Theatres Association. Yeah, where he was along with Anumai Ghosh and others. They used to do street plays with music and all in Delhi, and then just to create this patriotism in people. So that was my 2nd chapter. 3rd chapter was entirely devoted to his film music, because he was a national film awardee for Malayalam music. நிறைய national awards for Malayalam வாங்கியிருக்கார். ஆமா, தமிழ்ல அவர் பண்ண படம் ரொம்ப கம்மி, but he was ruling in Malayalam. And even when we were in the 80s and 90s, whatever he earned through his film, he used to put it into the choir, because all along till today there is no money in it, sir. Performance ko even rehearsals are expensive. You have to hire a hall, you have to take us places. So no organization will pay for 30 people, 30-35 people, Pakkavadyam, avalkala the livelihood actually. So we used to also sing his film recording. Swathi Tirunalnu or Malayala padam. I'm just saying that as an example. Fully adu vandu sir da music. So even during my school and college, we used to go and do all the film recordings. And Pallu Paduvomenu AAR la and Doordarshan, it was very, very famous. So andha madri, all that matter is what I brought into the research, because this is something that should see the light of day. Adhe madri, my last chapter was on analyzing 2 of his compositions. I took a very complicated Vasana Kavidai of Bharadiyar, Malainu நீங்க கேட்டிருப்பீங்க, திக்குகள் எட்டும் சிதறின்னு. அது சார் வந்து வசன கவிதையாவே அது பண்ணியிருந்தார், ad-libaவே. There was rhythm in a very small portion of that composition only. It was a 6-part harmony. So that was one of the topics, compositions that took up for analysis. So அது எப்படி வந்து how it lends itself from the Western techniques of harmony, and how he had used Indian ragams and Indian techniques, talams, to juxtapose both. Actually என்னன்னா, நம்ம மியூசிக்னு சொல்றோம், music is 2. So Western is based on harmonies and Indian music is based on melody. How we use the Western techniques of harmony in our Indian music is Indian choral music. See, what they do in the churches and other things, what they use is their hymns and their their Western totala. They use a Beethoven or a Bach, which is totally harmony. And harmonies are, they don't have the nelivu sulivu like our ragams. It's all staccato mari, straightforward, and it lends itself to symphonies, to what do you say, to more than voices. It lends itself to pianos, to brass, to woodwinds, to instruments getting played on it, to strings, அந்த மாதிரி. ஸோ ஆனா எம்பிஎஸ் எப்படி ரெவல்யூஷனைஸ் பண்ணார்னா, அந்த ஹார்மனிலேயே தோடி பண்ணியிருக்கார், ஆனந்த பைரவி பண்ணியிருக்கார், பேகடா பண்ணியிருக்கார். ஸோ அந்த ரக்தி ராகங்கள்லயும் ஹார்மனி எப்படி பண்றது பண்ணலாம் அப்படிங்கிறது வாஸ் ஹிஸ் பாயிண்ட். அண்ட் ஹி வாஸ் ஹிஸ் ஃபேவரட் போயட் வாஸ் பாரதியார். So I think he's one of the most prolific composers who's used Bharatiya's poems in Western harmony techniques in Indian choral music. So அதே மாதிரி வாழ்கனி அம்மாங்கிற ஒரு காம்போசிஷன் கூட டோட்டலா வந்து ஆட்லிபா விருத்தமாவே பண்ணிருக்க ராகமாலிகையில. கல்யாணி அந்த மாதிரி எல்லாம், சண்முக என்னெல்லாமோ ராகம், மதிமாவதி. அதே மாதிரி he didn't limit himself to just Tamil. He used to compose in any ragam, any Indian language. So we used to sing in 14 Indian languages. So இதெல்லாம் நடக்கறச்ச 2008 when I started digging deep and taking out his life history and everything, I finished my thesis in 2010. And the doctorate was awarded in 2010 August. Yeah. So 2011 after that you can either publish or do a public Ivan Varachada. My second presentation was done in RK convention. Thanks R Ramakrishnan sir. Luckily you were also there, and one of MBS sir's great friend Ramaswamy sir, PVB oda director, he was also there. So அவர் என்ன பண்ணார், what is it that you want ன்னு சொல்றச்ச, the last chapter also had how to take choral music to children through community singing was something I had also included. ஏன்னா MBS ஓட விஷன் என்னன்னா, எல்லா பட்டி தொட்டிலையும் எல்லா கிராமத்திலயும் குழந்தைகள் பாடணும். And he also used to say, நீ என்ன தாளம் சொல்லாத, கண்ட சாப்பு முசல சாப்பு சொல்லாத, you can easily teach through 1 2 3 4 count.
1 2 3 4
அழகா ஒரு மெத்தடாலஜி மாதிரி எவால்வ் பண்ணியிருந்தார். Of course I have taken a lot from that and evolved it also later. But அந்த குழந்தைகளுக்கு எல்லாம் சொல்லி தரச்ச used to be very simple. தமிழ்லயும் நிறைய பண்ணார் அது மாதிரி, to reach nursery children also. So nothing was religious. Everything was secular. It was about nature, about the flowers, about Tavalayoda, the cycle of a tadpole, life cycle of a tadpole பண்ணிருப்பார். And about the different flowers, பவழமல்லியில என்ன குழந்தைக்கு தெரியும், அதெல்லாம் வச்சு ஒரு பூ பாட்டு பண்ணார். So lot of it like that. So and also on swarams. Then from that I evolved and I made harmonies for talams. So I found that children who wanted to learn Carnatic but didn't want to learn because of the rigor were very interested in learning these songs. So in அது வந்து when Ramaswamy sir came for that viva, he said, why don't you do that? Why don't you? I said, sir, என்னோட கர்நாடிக் கிளாஸ்க்கு ஒரு ரூம் போரும் 8-10 பேரு, இதுனா 30-40 பேர் உட்கார where will I get the space? I don't have the wherewithal to higher space. He said, Bhavans will give you the space. Week on week, you tell me what day you want, what time. I will open out Bhavan for unit to 2011 I started Sargam. Sargam choir. This is the Sargam logo. Yeah. It's let's sing together ன்னு சர்கம்னு ஆரம்பிச்சோம். அது வந்து அவர் இடம் கொடுத்து every Saturday I used to do 3 hours. 1 hour for sub junior, 1 hour for junior, and then the senior அந்த மாதிரி. So 2011 இருந்து 2023 வரைக்கும் ஜேர்னி கண்டினியூ. So 2012 என்னாச்சு, 2004 அதே மாதிரி there was a group of employees from Bank of Baroda who wanted to train for an all India level competition in Baroda. They always lost South Zone. எப்பவும் பாம்பே தான் வின் பண்றாங்க. They approached us. So they asked me to train, and Akshayamங்கிற ஒரு group, Bank of Baroda employees தான் from all branches, officers, managers எல்லாம். So அவ வந்து they wanted to go to the World Choir Games, which was in US, Cincinnati. So 2011 Sargam ஆரம்பிச்சப்போ 2012 we went to Cincinnati for the World Choir Games. This is totally funded by each individual, including me. I spent to go there and for our air ticket, for everything. There's no sponsorship, there's no government support for any of this. So when we went there, we were amazed to see that there were some 430 choirs from all over the world who participated.
Okay.
அந்த இடம் வந்து சின்சினாட்டில ஒஹாயோன்னு ஒரு யூனிவர்சிட்டி டவுன். அந்த ஒஹாயோவே வந்து they had spent 3 years to turn it around for this competition. Everywhere you will see groups singing. We were put up in the Hilton, and in that we went there are a lot of categories you can go in that, just like the Olympic Games mari. This world choir games for choral music. You can perform. So because we wanted to sing our Indian language, we went in the folklore category. And we won the bronze.
Okay.
Amid so many, countries. So that was the beginning point. Though we had to spend, we were elated that, we got international recognition for what we were doing. நம்ம பாடலாம், but ஆனாலுமே அது வந்து to go on par with what Western choirs are doing, and we were only 15 of us adults. There were choirs which had 70 and 80 members. So competing with them and young voices and then winning, that was really an inspiration for me to now take it forward in more ways. And we started inducting more children and more adults. And எப்பவுமே வந்து குழந்தைகள் வந்து உட்கார்றச்ச the parents will also come and sit down for the class because it was an AC hall. So விட்டுட்டு எங்க போவா ஒரு மணி நேரம் they'll sit. Then the parents started asking, can we also join in the adult choir? அப்படி என்ன ஆச்சு, it became an adult and children choir. 2013 again we took the children alone and only the ladies. So ரெண்டு category we went to Manado, Indonesia. Again we won bronze in both the categories.
Okay.
So again another inspiration we want to do it again and again. Gramari Archa, I said no, the only thing all the judges said is the number of our choir was always small. Once it was 13, once it was 15, once it was 18. So when you're competing with 80 or 90 people in other choirs, there is a discrepancy in the volume, in the execution.
Yes.
So then I said, see, if you're going next time, we need to build our choir, we need to build a number. So end up 2017 we went to Sri Lanka again for the Asia Pacific Choir Games, and the number of a choir was now 41.
Oh, good.
Perissaki. Adhe madri, if we went in a category where we could sing our music, and we won the silver diploma this time, which was very, very prestigious for us, because there was one other 2-3 choirs which came from India, Sri Lanka. One of them got the bronze, one of them didn't win it, but ivalala irkarcha against them and against the other international choirs, we got the silver, was a real inspiration.
Oh, very
so
good.
Just before the pandemic, we had planned 2020, we were supposed to go to Brussels for the World Choir Games. Then the pandemic came upon us, and all our registration, the money, our accommodation, everything it got refunded, because this is a situation like no other. அதனால என்னாச்சு, pandemic போது our classes never stopped, sir. Our choir classes were going online. I was doing it online on Saturdays, Sundays, various groups are group பண்ணி. அப்போ வந்து என்ன, இந்த pandemicனால இந்த World Choir Games Brussels நடக்காட்டப்போ என்ன பண்ணா, they said we still want to do it online, just send us one entry of yours online. எப்படி பண்றது, 40 பேர் 40 இடத்துல இருந்தா. So one of my students, Sudarshan, he created a website where you could just, all of us, we did costumes. Pandemic, none of us went to the tailor. It was all couriered to them after stitching, and the badge reported, the uniform reported against a common background, cream background. All of them uploaded recorded video and uploaded it onto the website with parts. Akash Gangan ஒரே ஒரு பாட்டு, which has 6-part harmony. அது அப்புறம் நானும் சுதர்ஷன் உட்காந்து எடிட் பண்ணி then we sent it to Brussels, and it got a critics prize. So what I'm saying, நாம அடாப்ட் பண்ணணும். See, என்னால முடியாது, pandemic யாரும் வரமாட்டா. I could have also said no, I'll take a break. But I'm saying you should take inspiration from what has happened and see how to adapt and move forward. So after the pandemic, again from 2020 December, now again we have 22 December திருப்பி when Bhavans opened up, we resumed my classes. So again, today also I had a class there, Thursday, and every Saturday we rehearse there. So இப்போ என்ன பண்ணிருக்கேன்னா, December full packed இருக்கும். We'll get lot of thematic also, not necessarily only patriotic. One Sabha will say do only MSMA songs, one will say give us multilingual, and the madri. So we'll train for everything, and back to back every performance will be different. Now recently for Gandasala Garu, we did a tribute on December 3rd in Music Academy, because it was a centenary year. So 100 children actually performed all his compositions.
Okay. Very good.
In a cappella format. So அந்த மாதிரி evolve ஆயிண்டே போறது, and we keep getting recordings for children, we get programs for children. So beyond that, we keep learning. There's no end to learning. I also learn with the children every class.